And we are now joined by Ambassador J.S. Mukul, former senior diplomat on the show. Welcome, sir, to the program. How far would you say that the Tianjin Declaration adopted at the SCO summit has been shaped by the imposition of tariffs by President Donald Trump?
Well, thank you and good evening. I think it has been there as a background. Obviously, there is no direct reference to that, but I think the summit, in a manner of speaking, has been overshadowed by that. And from that perspective, I think a clear message has been sent by the SCO summit in Tianjin that the big three, if I can put it like that, China, India, and Russia, were on the same page on a large number of issues, a kind of a strategic hedge against the US pressure and the sanctions that have been imposed, particularly on India. Now, this, as I said, is not specifically mentioned. US was obviously not referred to directly, but the message, I think, is clear. Also, a kind of a strategic pivot that Russia, India, China are ready to tread their own path in the economic field in the backdrop of the US sanctions. So yes, from the Indian perspective, I think we can take a lot of satisfaction from this summit, from a number of aspects of this summit, but particularly also from the fact that the way it has panned out in the context of the US sanctions.
Okay, the declaration adopted at the SCO summit has strongly condemned the terrorist attack in Pahalgam and sent a clear and unified message against terrorism. What does this mean for India's continued battle against foreign-inspired terrorism?
I think that is a great achievement. The Prime Minister had spelled out very clearly in his statement the three aspects of security, connectivity, and opportunities. And in security, he had focused pointedly, not just at this time, but we have consistently been focusing in the aftermath, particularly in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack, on the need for condemning terrorism. And I think we can take a lot of satisfaction from the Tianjin joint declaration that has condemned the attack on 22nd of April, that has all our major issues with regard to terrorism have been reflected in the joint commission, the joint declaration, with regard to double standards, with regard to cross-border terrorism, with regard to states not sponsoring terrorists, extremists, and separatists, with regard to radicalization. So I think there's a lot in it. And of course, finally, a call that all the countries need to jointly counter the scourge of terrorism. So I think, yes, from that aspect, it is a very major achievement, particularly coming in the wake of some SCO meetings in the recent past, where there had been difficulties in crafting the language on terrorism. But I think on this occasion, all the countries have rallied together, and there is a very strong message going out against terrorism.
Okay, the SCO members committed to increasing cooperation in trade, simplifying travel procedures, and strengthening economic ties to counteract protectionism and sanctions. What would this imply in practical terms, and how much headway is the grouping likely to make in these areas?
I think it is an important political message that goes out. Many of these are done at the level of the bilaterals, some at the level of SCO itself, because SCO has now become a very large organization. It has 10 member countries. But for just to take an example, with regard to India, China, we have started the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra has been resumed. The direct flights are being resumed. Tourist visas have been restored. And there is a mention of facilitating other types of visas. There is on the trade side, it has been made clear, of course, with the required caution on the border issues between India and China. But there also there has been, both sides have expressed in the bilateral satisfaction at the momentum that has been gathered after the Kazan meeting between the leaders of India and China on the sidelines of the BRICS summit in Kazan in October 2024. and this augurs well going forward. But it is clear that both the countries are willing to cooperate in various areas on the basis of mutual interest, mutual respect, mutual interest, and mutual sensitivity.
Yes, the SCO members have agreed on advancing development cooperation, energy partnership, and solidarity to navigate geopolitical tensions affecting the global markets. So, what specific steps will be required for achieving these goals?
Well, as I said, these declarations send out a political message, a political impetus. Of course, the member countries have now to get down and start looking at actual implementation going forward. But it's a very good starting point in that sense that there is consensus on these issues. Again, on the issue of, again, at the bilateral level, in the meeting with the Russian President Putin, there was reference to, Prime Minister made it clear that the problem in Ukraine, the conflict in Ukraine needs to be brought, the peace has to be restored there, etc. So I think these are all positive signals which find in the overall SCO context, find reflection in the not just the joint declaration but also the various other documents that have been agreed to by consensus. So yes, a very positive message and augurs well for cooperation in the field of in the framework or umbrella of SCO. There, of course, there are lots of initiatives which India had taken in 2023 when we were having the SCO summit chair. We had startups and innovation, the Buddhist heritage idea of preserving the Buddhist heritage and promoting that, and so many others. At this particular summit, Prime Minister has put forward the idea of civilizational dialogue forum, a civilizational dialogue forum, which will help to showcase the civilizational aspects of the globally in terms of the arts, the literature, and various other aspects related to that. So again, I think very, very, very good opportunity to put forward India's own vision and policy with regard to the SCO.
Okay, Ambassador Mukul, finally, what would you say has been the most important outcome of the SCO summit?
Well, three very quickly. First, as I pointed out, we should take a lot of satisfaction from the final communique formulation on terrorism, which has been a very strong position of India, particularly after the Pahalgam terror attack. That is first. Second, I think like all summits, this provided a great opportunity for bilaterals on the sidelines and pull-asides. Prime Minister had at least 2 or 3 structured bilaterals, particularly the ones with China and Russia, but also a large number of pull-asides. So that is a very major, and the meetings with the presidents of China and Russia have been very substantive. As the saying goes, sometimes some of these bilateral meetings become more important than the summit itself. So that I think is very positive. And finally, as I was saying, the message that it sends in terms of the geostrategic environment with regard to the strategic hedging or the strategic pivot of the 3 countries. While there was no RIC, Russia, India, China, RIC triangular meeting, but the fact of the matter is that the RIC axis is not lost. The message about the RIC axis cannot be lost on anyone. Similarly, there can be, while there is no proposal to develop an alternative currency to the US dollar as a reserve currency, but certainly the R factor in currencies, the rupee, the ruble, the renminbi, again cannot be lost on anybody. So I think from our perspective, we can take a lot of satisfaction from the Tianjin summit.
It's very interesting how you describe the R3 currency. Thank you very much, Ambassador Mukul, for being with us on DD India News Hour.